And welcome back to the Over 40s Fitness Podcast. My name is Tristan Lowe, and today, third week in January 2024, it's part two of four discussions I'm going to be having with you on the benefits of strength training throughout the rest of the month, throughout January. So 4 discussions in January about strength training. Now, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you might be asking, what's this device I've got in my hand? Well, this is a meter. It's a grip strength meter, and it's a very useful basic, simple, useful tool that we use as personal trainers and therapists, physical therapists or sports massage therapists, and some doctors, GPs may use them in their surgery as well. Okay, but this device here will actually take your grip strength, okay, and strength, we'll call strength as defined by the ability to contract the muscles, okay, not power, moving from A to B as fast as quick as possible, strength, okay. So now, ordinarily, when people are being tested for strength under professional athletes, often it's used as a 1 rep max or a 3 rep max. In other words, you move an object from A to B once. However heavy, you can move that object. That could be a bench press, a squat, or a deadlift. Okay, those three simple ideas of actual physical strength. And sometimes it's a 3 rep max, sometimes more, but generally 1 to 3 times. Now, what we do here, we would squeeze this meter as hard as we can. The age, male or female, then the age goes into this meter, and you hold it out at arm's length. Sometimes you see people holding it at arm's length at shoulder height, stood up, sat down, or raising it from above their head and lowering it to shoulder height, all the way down to the hip. But whatever the case, there's usually a disparity in your grip strength between your left and right hand. And it doesn't always work out that if you're right-handed, your right hand will have a stronger grip, or your right forearm or shoulder. Sometimes it can be the opposite side. So these devices cost anything between £20 to £35. You can buy them off the internet. They're quite reliable. Just a couple of batteries, that's all you need. Now, all right, so why do we talk about grip strength? The reason that I'm talking about that is because there's enough evidence to show in data or studies that if you've got a physically weak grip, there should be a reason for it. Okay, now let's take the obvious ones. You're elderly, you're the age of, let's say, 70 and above. Okay, but certainly 80 and above, but let's go for 70. As you age, your body gets weaker naturally. Your muscle mass starts to subside. The proper term for that is sarcopenia, or you'd know it as muscle wastage or atrophy. But the muscle mass in our body generally starts to slowly, with age, disappear. Certainly from the age of 40, but there is enough evidence to show that it could be as low as 30 for some men, and certainly for women. Okay, now, taking that into account then, if our bodies are going to age, as in we are going to lose our muscle mass, our internal muscle mass, and we'll also lose or reduce the ability to produce enough force, as in physical strength. Now, that doesn't mean just necessarily for your gym or your sports or your leisure centre, or if you've got a physical job. It could also be for normal daily function, walking, outdoors, indoors, going upstairs. You'd be surprised how many people at the age of, let's say, 60, as little as 60, will put their own master bedroom on the ground floor, or move into a house. We call them bungalows over here in the UK. I think in America they call them houses. But generally, and so they don't have to walk upstairs. You'd be surprised how many people avoid walking up steps in department stores or in the street, and it's not always because they're carrying young children in their arms, one in the front, one in the back, or they're carrying 6 bags of shopping. It's because their bodies are physically weak for their age, and because they won't take the steps, they'll always take the lift. You know, it's human nature to take the easiest path. So my suggestion there is, if you can take the stairs, as opposed to the lift, do it. Keep your legs strong, keep your body strong, okay? You've got 2 legs, they're built for standing on, walking and moving. All right, now, I mentioned about how our bodies subside or reduce the muscle mass as we age, and therefore it's essential that we do some form of resistance training, let's call it strength training, on a regular basis, at least twice a week. Now that would be something where we would use the big levers in our body. That's our legs and arms. Okay, they're the 4 limbs that hang off us, but okay, they're not necessarily the only muscle groups we should train. We should also train our back, which is the chassis for our upper body, our upper torso, our chest, shoulders, and of course the hips, the waist. So if you've got a weakness in the hips, the hip joint is the skeletal frame, and then you've got tendons, ligaments, and muscles surrounding it, and of course the skin, the biggest organ in the body, surrounding that. If your body's weak because you don't do any form of resistance training, and again, just to be clear, resistance training doesn't have to be holding onto a dumbbell or a barbell or a fixed path machine in your local leisure centre. Resistance training can be using your own body weight. I've been training resistance training of some description since I was 11. I've done a lot of bodyweight exercises coming from a basketball and martial arts background. So I understand the benefits of bodyweight training. In fact, it's a very good way for beginners to start training. Young boys, girls playing sports because they're using some form of resistance. But we're talking about our age bracket of 40 and above. Now, you may want to look into something like this, a grip strength meter. If you've got a poor grip, we talked about it, you're of a certain age, we're talking 70 or above, your grip's going to get weaker as you age. That's just physiology. That's the sarcopenia, the disappearing muscle, and physiology, as our skeletal frames and our body's ability to create maximum force subsides. However, it'll also give you an indication if you've had, let's say, a cold or the flu or upper respiratory infection or disease or symptom, and you've been bedridden for a week or two with something like, I don't know, glandular fever, or you've had a serious injury to the shoulder, the neck, the back, or worst case scenario, your spine or your head, it's highly likely that your normal everyday grip strength will have gone down significantly in some cases. And again, remember, it's not always balanced on both sides. I tend to give a grip strength test to new people that come to new clients that come to our centre for personal training. Certainly on their first week they come to us, and then if it's something that I need to keep an eye on, we'll bring it in at a later date. Now, the muscles in the forearms, from the shoulder all the way down the upper arm to the forearms, wrists, into the hands. You've not got a lot of muscles in the fingers, but certainly in the forearms and the upper arms. If they can't contract properly, you can't send the signal from the brain down the side of your body to one side to generate force and isolate that force on one side of your body to squeeze this grip meter. There'll be a reason why. It's not just because you don't go to your local gym or your local leisure centre, or you've not got yourself a personal trainer. Some people may have a personal trainer or go to the gym and yet still have a weak grip. And it's often those that spend a lot of time on cardiovascular machines. So we could have somebody that's physically fit in terms of cardiovascular or even muscular endurance, but they've got a physically weak grip. And the reason being they don't do resistance training or certainly strength training. They could have a good set of heart and lungs. Their body's ability to swim, walk, cycle, run on a treadmill for an hour, that's great. It's a great way of looking after your organs, your heart and your lungs. But you should also incorporate some form of strength training. And again, certainly from the age of 40, but as little as 30. More so for women in their early 30s, before children or after children, before or after menopause. Now, there's a misconception again. Now, we've all had that moment in life at some point, whether it be at work, school, college, university, certainly as an adult, we've shaken hands with someone and they've noticeably had a weak grip. Now, I'm not saying that you should go and squeeze everybody's hand that you meet and squeeze as hard as you can just to actually show that you've got a strong grip. That's not going to get you anywhere. If anything, you're going to lose friends or lose that deal that you're after in business. But certainly what you don't want is a weak grip. They call it something like a loose lettuce grip or something like that. A weak grip is an indication of submissiveness, poor health. Maybe another reason you can think of yourself. We've all had that period in our life where we shook hands with someone and their grip is like a loose bit of lettuce. They've almost just dropped their hand or their fingers inside your hand. Male or female, man or woman, doesn't matter, young or old. We've had that. It's actually quite an unnerving thing. But equally, someone who tries to squeeze your hand as hard as they can. I actually had that happen to me when I was in my 30s in a sales environment. A gentleman came to me with regards to a broker in a deal, and he put everything he could into squeezing my hand as hard as he could during that time. Strangely enough, I actually pulled him up on it, and I said to the guy, that actually hurt. You just squeezed my hand so hard it hurt. Now, it didn't hurt me 3 seconds later, but what the guy was trying to do in a vain attempt was to create some form of physical dominance between us, and yet he actually come to buy something from me. I actually can't recollect if the sale was made or not, but I remember thinking, okay, there's one thing having a good, confident, firm grip. There's another thing to squeeze someone's hand as hard as you can. You don't need to do that, but equally remember, what you don't want is that little bit of loose lettuce dropping in someone's hand, all right? So get a grip, look after your strength in your body, get your grip strength tested. Nowadays, grip strength meters are used to look for early signs of all-cause mortality, in other words, poor health. In the same way, if that someone has got a poor cardiovascular fitness or spinal injuries, a poor grip is an early warning stage towards poor health later on in life. It tells us that he or she is clearly not getting enough strength training in the limbs, but equally they could have an underlying illness, disease, and of course the symptom will be a weak grip. So if you, next time you go and see your doctor, your physician, or your surgeon, or your personal trainer, or your physiotherapist, make an inquiry about having a grip strength test done. And if they've got a meter there, use it. It's a very, very important reading, just as important as your blood tests, which I've talked on earlier on in my discussion. So, yeah, get a grip. Today is the conversation is just about the strength from the shoulder right down to the arm to the hand. And I would ask you to go on the internet as well and look at the charts for your grip strength. You've got very weak, poor, normal, or strong. At the very least, you want normal. So again, you put your age in and your male or female, and then you squeeze like so, and it will give you an indication. What you don't want is a weak grip. Yeah, so get it done today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Get your readings, and if it is weak, make it stronger. Sleep better, eat better, do some form of resistance training, and then test yourself a week later until you go from weak to normal. And then you could spend a good few months in the normal category until one day, in your age category, and then again, male or female, you've got a strong reading on there, and it's a very, very good reading. You can pat yourself on the shoulder for that, as long as your grip's strong enough. Okay, that's it for today. My name's Tristan Lowe, and it's part 2 of the 4 sections on strength training that we're going to be talking about throughout January. The podcast is Over 40s Fitness with Tristan Lowe, and I'd ask you to like, subscribe and share, and feel free to put comments on it. And here we are in 2024. Let's have some more. Thanks for watching and listening.